This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. While 2020 was a tumultuous year for the auto industry, Tesla managed to set delivery and production records. The EV maker fell just short of its goal of delivering 500,000 vehicles, which it missed by only 450 units, but it did manufacture over 500,000 vehicles in 2020. In the fourth quarter alone, it delivered more than 180,000 vehicles, which beat its previous record by 40,000 vehicles. Compared to 2019, Tesla's deliveries were up 36% in 2020, which is pretty impressive, but even more so because of the pandemic. And this will help the company's sales this year. The Chinese-made version of the Model Y is now on sale in China, and deliveries start this month. The company began building the crossover at the end of last year, and it just updated its online configurator with the production version, which means deliveries will start soon. And speaking of China, the government announced plans to slash subsidies for electrified vehicles, or what it calls new energy vehicles. Subsidies for passenger cars will be cut by 20% this year, while subsidies for public transport vehicles will be cut by 10%. The incentives will remain in place until 2022. China expects NEV sales to hit 1.8 million this year, up from 1.3 million, and is aiming for NEVs to account for 20% of new car sales by 2025. Ford's strategy for India just shifted into reverse. Under former CEO Jim Hackett, Ford signed a joint venture with Mahindra to develop low-cost vehicles for the Indian market. But under new CEO Jim Farley, Ford just canceled those plans. And here's our Autoline insight. Farley must recognize that Ford is lagging behind GM and VW in developing electric vehicles and needs to prioritize spending on EVs instead of low-margin vehicles for India. Maybe Ford and Mahindra will want to revisit this again in the future, but for now, Farley has other priorities. And speaking of changes at Ford under Farley, the company's VP of Sales in the US and Canada, Mark LaNave, who is 61, elected to leave the company. His replacement is Andrew Frick, 47 years old, who has extensive sales experience with the Ford and Lincoln brands in North America, Asia Pacific, the Caribbean, and Central America. LaNave's experience includes running Cadillac, Volvo in North America, and was the chief marketing officer at Allstate Insurance, where he launched the TV ad campaign called Mayhem.
We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
The world is changing at an ever-increasing pace. No matter what the mode of transportation, there is always the need for an efficient propulsion system. And that's exactly what BorgWarner has been doing since the earliest days of the automotive industry.
GM found success with its little Chinese-made Mini EV, and not to be left behind, Toyota is now introducing the C+ Pod in Japan. The two-seater is actually slightly smaller than the Mini EV and features a 9 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack that feeds a rear-mounted electric motor. While that is a small battery, with a weight of about 1,500 pounds or 680 kilograms, the C+ Pod still has 150 kilometers or about 93 miles of range. It's also limited to a top speed of 60 kilometers per hour or about 37 mph. Toyota will first offer the little electric vehicle to corporations, local governments, and other organizations, but by 2022, it will be available to individual users. Pricing for the C+ Pod starts at about $16,000, which we find very interesting. GM's Mini EV is roughly the same size, has about the same range, and even has a higher top speed, but only costs $4,100. There's more ways than ever to get distracted behind the wheel of a car, which is why SEAT, which is part of the VW Group, is working to reduce the amount of time a driver has to take their eyes off the road to perform a certain function. It's using special glasses mounted with a camera and infrared sensors to track a driver's eye movement. They're able to tell if the driver has to look away to change the radio stations or the HVAC controls, or how long they searched around for things like battery state of charge. SEAT then uses all this information to improve its systems. Last year, Fisker announced a partnership with Magna to have the supplier build its Ocean electric SUV. And now the two companies are expanding the collaboration. Magna will develop an advanced driver assistance system for Fisker, which will be equipped in the Ocean. In addition to cameras and sensors, the system will include digital imaging radar technology, which is a first for the auto industry. The Fisker Ocean is expected to hit the market at the end of 2022.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone Tires, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And by Borg Warner, propulsion solutions that support a clean, energy-efficient world.
We know there are a lot of Corvette fans out there, and if you'd like to take a more behind-the-scenes look at the design of the new mid-engine Vette, then check out Chevrolet's Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube pages for a two-part documentary series it's releasing. It's shot from the perspective of the engineers who brought the car together. The first part is already out, and the second part launches at 1 p.m. today. We've been reporting for years that electric cars lose considerable range in winter weather, and here's our latest numbers that prove it. We had a Mustang Mach-E to test drive over the holidays, an all-wheel drive premium model with the 88 kilowatt-hour battery pack. With an outdoor temperature of 34 degrees Fahrenheit, we fully charged the battery, but only got an indicated range of 175 miles. Under ideal conditions, that would have been 237 miles, so it lost 26% of its range due to the cold weather. Clearly, these were not ideal conditions. With near freezing temperatures, we used the heated seats, set the cabin temperature to 72 degrees Fahrenheit, and occasionally had to use the windshield wipers. In other EVs we've tested, the range dropped even more at colder temperatures. In our experience, at 25 degrees Fahrenheit, most EVs will lose about 40% of their range. Of course, MPG drops in gasoline-powered vehicles in extreme temperatures too, but it's not as significant, and you spend less time filling back up. We're not trying to knock EVs down, but saying that automakers may have to provide better education to get more people to drive electric vehicles. And hey, be sure to join us on Thursday as we crank up Autoline After Hours for a brand new year. Are automakers really canceling programs for autonomous vehicles, or will 2021 go down in the history books as the beginning of an autonomous revolution? Our guest will be Jeff Stout from Yangfeng, a leader in automotive interiors. So join John and Gary for some of the best insights as to what's happening in the automotive industry. That's it for today. Thank you for watching.